Good evening and welcome back to another episode of Small Talk with Center to New Horizon. I will be your host for today, Devin Eccles, and this is my co-host.
Edmund Hall.
I am a 17-year-old senior attending the school, Bronxeville Scholastic Institute du Sable.
And I am a 21, finna be 22-year-old senior at Dillon University.
Today we'll be talking about community buildings and how centers contribute to better neighborhood surroundings. Our community building effort include, but are not limited to, community gardens, community outreach, and violence prevention. This year alone, over 1,600 individuals have participated in healthy living activities developed and facilitated by Centers for New Horizon.
Community outreach programs are programs that focus broadly on strengthening, unifying, and building the economic, cultural, educational, and social services of a community or neighborhood, and improving the quality of life for all. Community outreach workers may work for cities, counties, or school districts. They distribute informational material on services available to the residents, and they serve as liaisons between the residents and agencies providing the social services.
The community outreach program gives students the opportunity to get involved in community service on a regular basis, with projects to choose from almost daily. Projects are student-led and are offered at a variety of nonprofit agencies. Joining us this evening is special guest Mac Gordon, who works in Community Development Department at Centers. He will be giving us some insight on how Centers is at the front of the community building efforts. Centers for New Horizon is located on 4150 South King Drive, Chicago, Illinois 60653. The website is www.cnh.org. Without the www, it will not work. This is what the website looks like. This is how you know that you're there. And you can also follow us on Instagram at Centers 2.0 and hashtag us Centers 2.0. Our number, if you want to call Centers to get any additional information, is 773-373-5700. How you doing, Matt Gordon?
Not too bad. How are you today?
I'm all right.
Good.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself today?
Sure. So for me, I started with Centers for New Horizons actually just this year, back in May 2016. But before that, I actually lived in California. I'm from Chicago and I'm from the Bronxville area, so I was very knowledgeable about some of the works that Centers for New Horizons did within the community on the South Side primarily. And for me, I was really attached to the garden aspect because you have a lot of youth nowadays who really don't have as many opportunities. And within the South Side communities right now, a lot of people or students more so in youth are looking for employment jobs and things like that. Fortunately, as the statistics we read on about a couple episodes ago, Centers has employed from 50 to about 500 youth each summer within the last couple of years. So being attached to the garden has really helped elevate that as well. So for me more so, like I said, I just started back in May and really just came on board more so just to get involved with the urban agriculture aspect.
What are some of the community building events that Centers have hosted this year?
Well, like I said, I just started back in May, so the primary two, or about three that we've done so far, the initial one, along with some of the parents from FELA site, which pertains to early childhood development, if you don't know. We took some of the parents from there down to Springfield to just introduce them more to just some like the legislation processes that goes along with passing bills and things like that, because what some of us may or may not know is that they try to cut, what they have been cutting a lot of the state funding, primarily for childhood education and things around that nature. So just kind of just showing the parents, what that entails as far as being able to get their voice out and showing them that they do have power within their vote was pretty impactful because they actually ended up passing a bill that day for X amount of fund. I can't remember the exact quote, but it helped tremendously because that money goes back into the community and some of the educational resources that we need. Two, we had a Parents' Day at FELS, which is more so just to introduce them to sustainable living, how to save costs on kind of like their utility bills and things like that. Everybody likes to save money. Everybody likes to make money. So I think that was pretty successful. And then third, which was our most recent one, was our farm day at the community garden. We had just residents throughout the neighborhood come out, some individuals from just around Chicago in general come out, support, see what we do as far as like farming, seeding, harvesting, things like that, giving people fresh produce. And then secondly, tied into that, we were able to do some more so like some cooking demonstrations and like some fitness demonstrations as well. So those three have been like pretty much the most recent events since I've been on board.
Cool. Where is Center's Garden community located?
So as you guys mentioned earlier, Centers is located on 4150 South King Drive. The garden, which a lot of people end up missing a lot of times, is literally right behind the building. You have the parking lot, and then you go right through the alley, and bada bing, bada boom, it's literally right there. But if you want to be, I guess you'd say like geographically correct, it's actually on 401, I think 26 South Calumet. But either way, you can either see it from the alley or from the Calumet Street, as long as you're between 42nd and 41st.
All right. If I may ask, how long has it been up? How long has it existed?
Well, from my knowledge, John Owens, who was actually a guest, I think a few shows back, along with the founder of Centers, Dr. Karanja, they started the garden, I believe, about 3 years ago. Maybe three or 4 years ago, but I'll say 3 just to be safe. Started as like a vacant lot. And actually, when you enter the garden now, you can actually see some of like the transformation and the renovations that have taken place throughout the years. So that started, like I said, about 3 years ago. And it was all because they had the vision and wanted to see something that residents and youth could utilize.
Yeah. What do you plant? Like, what kind of plants do you plant?
Good question. So some of the top things that we love in our community, we got collards, mustards, turnips, green tomatoes, red tomatoes, like like cherry tomatoes, things like that.
Yeah.
Potatoes, onions, kale. The kale is booming. Russian kale, some lettuce, and spinach. And that's about it. We got a few other things. Basil. People like basil. Yeah, basil. And a few other things. We don't really have too many fruits growing right now because this year was just a little wavy as far as like the weather. It wasn't consistent. Like you may or may not remember, but like during like the spring season, it was like pretty cold until like just about June, May. Then it started to warm up. So with the plants, they weren't able to like develop on a consistent scale. But if you come by the garden now, it's blossoming pretty well. So not too bad.
Where do you get the supply from? Where do you get the supply for the seeds? How do you get it?
Yeah, so some of our seeds were actually donated to us. We do everything from start, meaning that like we take the seeds, we plant them. We have like what you would call a planting tray. So you don't have to necessarily directly plant it in the yard. You can. I did with the lettuce and like a few other things, but a lot of our plants actually started with just straight seeds into like the trays, and then from there, just consistent watering throughout the months. And then when it gets to about maybe like 2 inches in height, as far depending on what kind of plant it is, then you put it in the ground. So a lot of our materials are actually just purchased or donated, but typically we just go ahead and buy like most of our own stuff through our funders.
So how did you get started with this program?
So kind of just to retract a little bit, like I said, I'm from the Brownsville area. Periodically, I used to pass the Center's Garden, going to the Green Line on 43rd.
Mm-hmm.
For myself, actually do vertical gardening. I have a company that I do vertical landscaping and things like that. So when I actually met John Owens and Chef Tazakia, I met them at a pop-up event in Brownsville around the same time last year. I think it was about June, and I had saw Chef Tazakia, who did like a lot of cooking demonstrations for the organization, and still does actually. He was working with the youth, and so like I was just like elated to see just like this group of young teens working, preparing fresh food, things like that, things that you really don't commonly see within our neighborhoods. We have a caller. Sorry.
Yeah, he's we have a caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, I'm tuning in tonight's show, and I wanted to know, where do centers go to get the seeds to plant the various fruits and vegetables?
Okay, so there are actually like a few farmers markets that we can like visit. But for us, I know we got some of our initial seedlings from I think Whole Foods. I want to say, just because like they were like organic seeds and things like that. Um, so yeah, so you could go to Whole Foods if you're like interested in like just getting like your own seedlings. You can go to Whole Foods. You can go to just local farmers markets, or you can even order them offline. There are numerous websites that sell them. Organic seeds that you can just order. Comes in a little pack, and then from there you're pretty much set to get going.
Okay,
Cool.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for calling.
I'm glad someone remembered this is a live show. You can call in at 312-738-1060. If you have any questions or comments about whatever is going on with the topic.
Definitely.
If you want to continue what you were saying, if you remember.
Oh yeah, so yeah, just through just various donations, we were able to get like our seedlings and just start from there. So for me, just going back, like I said, I was passing like the garden, got connected, saw the youth working. So I started to actually volunteer with the garden. You know, just more so just how to just trying to increase my knowledge of urban agriculture and horticulture and things around that, I guess, subject and ordeal. And here I am today. You know, I was able to connect with the organization. I like what they were doing. I guess they saw some potential in me and they decided to give me a chance. And I don't think I've been letting them down thus far.
That's great. Good to know.
Yeah.
So who actually takes care of the garden? Is it just you?
No, it's actually the garden has many hands that touch it periodically. Primarily, it's myself and John Owens, like I said, the founder of the garden, or the one who started the garden. But I also work with youth as well. We have a youth program through One Summer Chicago, and we work with about, I want to say, roughly about 7 to 10 youth. And so they've been helping me on a pretty consistent basis, keeping things up to par. They've been getting great experience just learning how to plant seeds, harvest, you know, really like get the weeds at the right time to harvest, and just things like that to really just increase their understanding of what it takes to be an urban farmer, you know.
Mm-hmm. And we have another caller.
Hello, yes. I was calling to ask, do you all have cooking demonstrations or do you all have demonstrations to show people how to start their own garden in the neighborhood?
Oh, that is a terrific question. So we do have, like I illustrated a bit earlier, we have events periodically. Our first event for the year pertaining to the farm was on, what was it, July 30th, which was a Saturday. So we do have some cooking demonstrations then. Then also we have another event next Saturday, which is August 13th, I believe. August 20th. This weekend is the 13th. It's August 20th. So we do cooking demonstrations, not just randomly. Typically they're held at our event. And so right now we actually do have a blog, if I could just shout that out real fast. It's on, you just go to Facebook, type in Fresh Bronzeville, Fresh, Bronzeville, BRONZEVILLE. And that's pretty much the name of the youth program, Fresh Bronzeville. So you can see more information about different recipes there, how to make kale chips, how to make collard egg roll wraps, things like that. And even like how to make pesto. That's one of our top products right now. Just taking some of the fresh basil and preparing pesto. So again, that information is on our Facebook page as well as our blog. So to answer the question, yes.
You can go ahead and say the blog name and the Facebook name one more time.
It's Fresh Bronzeville. Fresh as in the quality, fresh, and then Bronzeville like the neighborhood. So just Fresh Bronzeville. You type that in, and you won't miss it. I guarantee it.
So how can somebody volunteer in the garden?
So that's another great question. I mean, I'm loving it. So the volunteer days haven't been solidified as of yet, but we have been given. Okay, cool.
We have another caller.
Yeah, the lines are blowing up.
Caller.
Hello, yes. I wanted to know about the Green Ambassador program. I work with a few teenagers who have done it before, but I wanted to know what the qualifications for it is and when is the next time that you all will be perhaps hiring for the Green Ambassadors program.
Great question. So through Centers, And I'm actually not like the director of this department as far as like the youth hiring process. But from my knowledge, we don't actually hire Green Corps youth. I think we have like a partnership with Green Corps, and then through that, Green Corps, the way it functions is that they have youth who do urban farming as well as like construction and other kind of like hands-on jobs. So they look for organizations or spaces to partner with to assign their youth. And that would be a situation that we would kind of fall into because we have the space to accommodate them, and we definitely have projects that need to be completed. So unfortunately, we weren't able to connect with Green Corps this summer, but I know that Green Corps is a year-round program, so hopefully that is, hopefully, sorry about that, hopefully that's, that can perhaps be solidified again within the next upcoming months. So we don't actually hire Green Corps students or youth. It's just a partnership just amongst the organization, but we haven't worked with any this summer.
Did I ask you a question?
I believe she hung up.
Thank you, Carla. So what do you do with the foods after you harvest them?
We sell them. So we have a lot of things that are producing at a rapid rate right now. Our collars are booming. I forgot to mention the cabbage. I don't know how I forgot that. We have the cabbage, peppers. I forgot those. We have bell peppers, jalapenos, habaneros, and different things like that. So once we harvest them, and that's what our farm days are for, to more so just harvest everything in large quantities, and with the kind of like the clientele that comes or the supporters that come, we'll sell it to them directly. So last year we actually we sold, I think, like over, I mean, at minimum 100 items, you know, so, and that was just within a couple hours, you know. So for our first event for the garden this year, I think it turned out pretty well. Great turnout, great support. And so for the next event next week, and periodically, let me just retract a little bit. If you're ever in the area between like the hours of 9 and 5, essentially, with office hours, and you want some fresh produce, whether it's collards, cabbage, anything like that, just feel free to call the number you see at the bottom of the screen, or just send us an email, just direct it to myself, or anybody at Center. Just put, you know, looking for produce, and I'm sure it'll get to us at the right time. But yeah, I'm pretty much out there every day from like 9 to 1 when it's not too hot and the sun's not sweltering. But if you want to come after that or after hours, just like I said, just feel free to give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to make that arrangement and get you that fresh produce that you want.
So how does community building help in violence prevention efforts to keep youth off the streets and out of trouble?
Well, this was kind of the vision when the garden first started. Just an opportunity in the space to employ youth to keep them out of trouble and things like that. So that within itself, just having the garden has been, I've been able to connect with youth, you know, who are involved, you know, to an extent, like in the street life. And they've told me, you know, like this is an opportunity for them to, you know, progress, you know, kind of diverge away from, or digress more so from like just troubling situations and things like that. And then secondly, they recommend friends, you know. So although say for instance their friend may not be able to get involved in a program, all high school students need like service learning hours, and some people just like to volunteer. So I think this has been like a huge opportunity or segue more so to allow some of the youth to just come and do something productive versus, you know, things unproductive more so.
Understood. That's actually very great to know. I hope everybody got that in. But we have another caller.
Hi, I have a quick question. I wanted to know, when do you know when the harvest season is about to end?
It's really just based on the weather. And again, just kind of to go back a little bit, like I was saying, like this year was a little strange with the weather. It was cold all spring pretty much. I mean, yeah, we had some good days, some bad days, but for the plants, they were pretty much bad days because they weren't able to really blossom like they could because their roots were getting frozen due to the low temperatures. But based on like when it's starting to get cold, you'll notice like a difference in the plants. They really aren't like blossoming like they should, or they'll be more so stagnant, you know. But with that, it's you can tell by the weather. typically the end of the harvest based on the plant, because right now it's a good time to maybe start planting like things like pumpkin seeds and things like that. So for things like, like collards can hold off a little bit longer, but things like maybe like peppers or like cabbage, it's a little bit too late to plant things like those. But based on the plant, you'll definitely know because it will just stop growing essentially.
All right, and if there's any additional information, well, thank you, caller, for calling in.
Definitely, we truly appreciate the calls.
Just like you brought up the Facebook and the blog, is there any additional information that you'd like to tell the viewers?
Definitely. So again, our next event is next Saturday, which is August 20th, open to the public. It's right at our central location, which is 4150 South King Drive. I'll be out there. We have another caller. It is the hotline bling out.
You can call them.
Hello, yes. I was considering volunteering in your garden. I wanted to know what would be the process or steps to take in order to become a volunteer in your garden.
There really isn't a process. Like I said, I mentioned it earlier in the show that we're currently trying to, just like I said, solidify days that work well for not only the staff members but as well as the community. So starting. Well, at the event, if you come to the event, you'll definitely find out more information regarding volunteer opportunities. But we're looking to start those days maybe once or twice a month, maybe like a Saturday or Sunday. Definitely early in the morning, just to kind of help residents accommodate to their time as well, because during the week a lot of people are working. So if you just shoot me an email, because throughout the week I'm there as well. If you just want to come out and just help if you're off during the week, you can email me personally at Mac, that's MACG as in Gordon, at cnh.org. Again, that's MacG at cnh.org. And shoot me an email, say, hey, you want to volunteer in the garden, and we can set that up for sure.
Thank you, caller, for calling in. Back to that additional information.
Yeah, so just check out the Fresh Brownsville page. It's a plethora of information there. Like I said, you'll see some recipes, some updates, what's going on with the youth right now, because outside of just the One Summer Chicago program, we do work with youth, teaching them about environmental justice, how to be leaders within their community, and things around that. So those subjects and highlights are always available on our Facebook page at Fresh Brownsville. And then you also find the link to the blog as well. I don't remember it by heart, but find Fresh Brownsville on Facebook and you're all set.
Well, thank you for coming on with us today, Mr.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, and guess we'll be seeing you another time.
We got
another call.
Hi. Approximately how many youth do you all have working with you in the garden?
Currently, it's about 7 to 10, but we are looking to partner with individuals, or partner with youth more so throughout the school year. So if there are any youth, I'll make this loud and clear, if there are any youth who need service learning hours, the garden is ready to accept you, and I personally would sign up on those hours, and I will make sure you don't get shorthanded. So volunteer opportunities are open for that. Currently, like I said, we have 7 to 10 youth that we're working with, but once the One Summer Chicago program ends, unfortunately, we won't be able to keep them. So definitely reach out to me if you have any questions or comments pertaining to just coming out and supporting. Cool.
Well, thank you, caller, for calling in. And thank you again, Mike Gordon.
Perfect, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. It was a pleasure.
All right. And once again, if you do want to call, or if you do want to know more about Centers for Rise, you can come to 4150 South King Drive, Chicago, Illinois, 60653. The website is www.cnh.org. You can follow us on Instagram at Centers 2.0, hashtag us at Centers 2.0. And if you want to call the actual Centers for New Horizon place, it is 773-373-5700, just for any additional information that you might need, but you need in person. Welcome back, Edmund Hall.
How you
Nice
doing?
smile you got there. And I wanted to give another shout out to Deja Franklin. This was her last show. She is currently back on her way to Clark, Atlanta, is where she attended college. And you'll be going back.
Dillon University Wednesday. I see
Into the next horizon.
into the next horizon.